Hello, hello. So, I wanted to talk about all the speedrunning decisions that I put into making the route for Brandish. Like starting from where Breakdown's route was, and then how I thought about each of the rooms, and how I counted items to come up with what is my current route. And so this would be a technical speedrunning video. So if you're interested in that, this is the video for you. So we're starting off in, this is the record run, by the way, in the boss room of the crab demon. And here he is. And we're going to get ourselves killed, and because that's the start of the memory exploit. And that's one of the last things that I found, and one of the bigger ones too. It's a rather significant glitch, because it has the potential to skip all kinds of things. Except there are barriers preventing that. And in this case, you can't kill the boss in advance because, and then do the glitch, because the ghost girl would have already been activated, and you wouldn't be able to re-talk to her to progress. So I'm going to start the video now. And to do the glitch, or exploit, all you do is die. You get to your desired point in the game, die, back out of the load screen, and press New Game. And that'll carry forward all of your one-time triggers that have occurred in your play file. They'll still be stored, but everything else is a new game. And one of those is this get up animation at the very start. And that's how you know that the exploit's working, because you just skip it. And you start the game faster. So first thing I'm going to do is go towards the warp magic, because that saves significant time over the run. I'm holding onto the sword. I'm going to drop it, but I want to drop it at a specific point coming up. And that's because I want warp to be in my first slot. And I drop it by dropping the item, pressing forward to select my sword. My sword slot, because there's no sword equipped. And then backing out of the inventory, and that will set your active item to your first slot, which is empty now, and it has the potential to step you forward. And I do it in that lane because it's fine if you step forward. Now we're just going through the floor 1. It's nothing special. You rush to get the keys and the hammer and get out. Just hoping that there's not many enemies along the way, or in the way, because they can block doors randomly. It's up to them. This is more just doing things as fast as you can. Get the specific item to advance. So here we have health potions. And I want those for runes 5, because you take some damage in that floor. There's the pits and the monsters. Mostly the monsters. You need to be able to get past them without stopping or backtracking. We're going to pass by some invisibility potions on the right here. I counted them out, and you only need 2, and you get the 2 later. I think the box in that past room had 4, and you could find uses for them, but you don't really need them. And here we're just advancing through floor 3. You want to have your hammer out before you open the door here, so that the guy's not beating on you. And you can just jump right past him. Fire magic was a pretty big discussed topic internally. Because it has value in that you can sell it, and it's right next to another item that you can sell for about 9,000 gold. So that'd be 16,000 total. And it's also useful in clearing enemies that block doors. But I don't get it because I decided to, that if you're ever using it, then that means you're going slow. And additionally, it throws off your int stat. So you might accidentally level, and that'd be slow too. It takes about 26 seconds to go up that lane and warp back. So there's a walking through the boulder trick found by PJ. I skipped the cutscene on this floor, you might have noticed. And that's because of the memory exploit I did at the start of the video. And right now that's all you can do with it, is skip that cutscene and the opening get up animation. But there are many other potential uses for it. Like you can start the crab boss early, and that's another thing that'll happen in this run. And you could get it's like a gold necklace thing you get from the ghost girl. You can get that before fighting the boss. But I don't do that because then you wouldn't be able to advance. And so that's why I only do a few things with that exploit. So here the screen flickers. It's like on Japanese version you could like make a text box to skip through that, and that would not load any of the sprites on the floor. And that means that you could theoretically also make a text box appear in this version that would do the same thing. But to do that, that's tasks only. And they use it once to skip a warp point tile. And they use level ups to do that. Because level ups in this game, they're allocated over time. Like you get a bank of experience, and over time it's added to your current experience, and you gain levels when you hit 100. And jumping through those pushers is something I took from the task. It's one of my first contributions to the run, was taking task only tricks and trying them out. And yeah, I tried arrow jumping, tried the pushers, and PJ found the boulder clips. So I'm dropping health potions here because I'm picking up a new stack of health potions, and I never want to combine the items. Never want to combine stacks, because that's slow. Like once I stopped trying to combine stacks, I saved a couple minutes, and that's a significant amount of time. So pretty much never combine stacks, except for the invisibility potions you get later at the store. And if I drop the health potions at that point, then the new stack goes where the old stack of health potions were. And a finer bit of optimization there would have been turning towards the door before warping, so that you can just put the key in right away and don't need to take too many hits if there are enemies nearby. This floor has some extra master keys if you need some. They're at the start. Like you turn at the very beginning to dodge a locked door, because you can warp around it using the maze. That was that was in my earliest versions of the route. I would go through the locked door and then I'd need the extra master keys. But it turns out I didn't. This floor, you want to warp to that door that I opened because it's just a safe point. If you warp anywhere else, then you might get hit by the dinosaur. And here you need to ready the keys, because if you're fast, you can put in the key and avoid the wizard's magic. Chainmail, I currently don't know if I need it, because it doesn't sell for much at all, and its only real value is against these frogs. And it might help with blocking, but I'm not sure about that. So if you're not taking too many frog hits, it doesn't help too much. But here I'm punching dwarves. If you used a sword at the start, you would get very little value out of it because your arm strength is too low. So you'd still be doing minimum damage. But we just punch him to get maximum arm strength because it takes the full number of hits to kill them. Just hitting for 1s and 2s. Because more punches means more arm strength points. The number of dwarves I decided to kill is 7. So it's however many punches that is. It puts you in a good spot for the wizard fight and then the crab boss. For the wizard fight, it gives you enough arm strength where with the saber you can kill him in 2 rounds pretty comfortably. That's if you're doing the 2 swings per fireball method. And that's why I decided on 7 exactly. It's like any more and you're not gaining much value, and any fewer and you need a 3rd phase, a 3rd cycle. Yeah, there's a lot of testing that went into how many dwarves to kill. The invis potion on the dwarf is something that I needed once I started getting to this point at a lower level, because you need to be level 3 to survive a hit, I believe. But I started getting there at level 2. And so I needed to invis potion or else he'd sometimes kill me. There's like 30% chance to kill me, and you can't have runs like that where you just lose 30% of them. There's an item up here in front. It's worth like 4,000 gold, a little under that. So I tried that for a while. I tried a lot of items. It's like there's many items on the way that are worth thousands of gold. So I went for, well, the big ticket items, mostly. There's a few points where I went for just gold. That's not in item form. You don't need to sell it. And that's to keep my inventory clean. For all of Ruins, my inventory is, I don't know. You use all of one bag worth of inventory. And there's not a whole lot of extra items to sell. But later on, the sellable items get dropped and put in the box. They get shuffled as the bag fills up. You want to fight this boss on the second game speed, so you can hit him twice between each fireball. And also, if he's on full speed, then he moves too fast to really fight. And this is not a fun boss to speedrun. Like, he's great if you get a good pattern, but he feels terrible if you don't. Because you could lose a minute to him being just unattackable. But what you want to do is you freeze him, and hopefully you can attack him right away. You attack him twice, block a fireball, attack him twice, block a fireball, and that ends up feeling like just mashing attack, but it lines up really well. The crab boss, he has 2 AI determined positions. Like if he's in this corner, he has to move forward because he can't step on this tile. And if he's in either of these tiles, he'll attack and then move to the other one. Down here now. And then he'll keep going back and forth if you block him. So that's the 2 AI manipulations for this fight. So I had a pretty bad fight in my run, because I wasn't thinking clearly. Also, so my strategy for that boss has changed. It used to be I would block him, block attack, but at lower level you can't survive a hit, and he has an attack that is faster than your counterattack, and so you can't reliably block attack him. So I switched to dodge and then attack, like hit him in the side style, or let him follow me backwards is what tends to happen. Yep. So I get the mana potions and the short sword. Short sword for money. And I tried to count out my hardening potions. I think there's 2 that I skipped in runes here. Like there's one on the crab floor and one on floor 4-ish, 4 or 5. Hardening potion's really useful. Like it's a lot of money if you spend it on one of the late game swords. So it's either can be used as effectively a second sword, or it can be used as extra money. So it's a very useful item. The only time I really use it for money is with the flame sword. I put a few extra hardening potions into it so I can sell it for more. And so that sets me up to have good invisibility potion count. The saber, it gets just enough durability to get me through, because I need to use it to kill archers on floor 9 and the first archer of floor 10. And also clear out these jellyfish, of course. Rule of thumb is if you can jump over it, you should. Because if I attack, then that's losing an attack animation's worth of time. And experience is pretty negligible. Like I'm only gaining attack strength experience on the efficient enemies, and level experience doesn't get efficient until late game, like Fortress. The end of Cave isn't too bad, but it's mostly in Fortress. Here I dropped the ring so that the key would go in my main bag. That's just some inventory optimization. I'm also trying to select the next item that I'm going to need. So here's the hammers. Because at the start of floor 4, you need to hammer the wall. And then after that, I'm going to get a key. And then when I get to the door I use the key, is when I'd switch to the key. And then hopefully leave it on the same spot, because that's where the ring of life is going to go. So I can drop the ring. Health potions, I don't need health potions here. I'll probably just switch to it to skip the text of dropping. Because when you drop an item, you get a text box, and you need to cancel that. As well as opening a door. Because opening a door is what I actually did. So text boxes, they are a thing that block your inputs, so you need to play around them. This beetle's pretty bad. There's a lot of text boxes that you know are coming, like opening a treasure chest, dropping an item, using the last of an item. You can see all of those coming, and so you can prepare by being ready to cancel the text box. But then the unpredictable kind, like level ups, you just have to wait out. One thing you can do for level ups is run into the monster in front of you, like press forward. But the danger there is that you won't be blocking anymore. So if you're trying to block an attack, you can't do that. But unlike the Hydra boss, you can. Just walk forward and cancel the text box. I played around a little bit with the game message speed option. Like try putting that to the slowest so that you can actively try to cancel every text box. But that doesn't work out to be very useful. This enemy here, you don't need to freeze him. Like if you mash B, mash jump, you can get over him every time. But it's also a little risky because you do need to, like, you're still jumping in a rhythmic pattern, but while mashing you're more likely to hit it on the right time. So there's still a chance that you'll miss, and then he'll catch you. But I'm finding that mashing is fine for that. Save a bit of time by not needing to bring out the ring, and you could also drop the ring earlier. Save a bag slot. There's the breakdown skip. Just warp past that 10-minute floor, because you don't have access to the breakdown skip in the PSP Brandish. Get some hardening potions and mana potions. So I have one invisibility here. But you can just jump around the knights, that's fine. This archer is always going to be in the back side to the other side of the room. But you need the invisibility to get through that fake wall, because you can't tell if the archer is in there shooting at you or not. So that's the only use of the invisibility potion there. And then you get some more up here. Like, it does get pretty dicey if both archers are in the small room. But hopefully you can kill one, and then if you're in the room and one of them is gone, then you can usually kill the other one. Alright, let's remember back to Tower 4, where I was talking about selecting items in your inventory. I get a key there at the start, and that's actually something new that I changed. Not new. But the other option there is to fight 4 archers, and I went the keyway just because it's more consistent. So that's all there is to that. They're roughly the same speed. Archers are slightly faster if it goes well, but it usually doesn't. There. I don't want to forget anything as I'm explaining things. I tried skipping the Gaddy armor here, because that looks like a clear way to save time. But it makes the bats so incredibly hard that I had to keep using the Gaddy armor. Against bats, you die in 2 hits instead of 3, and that's too easy to die. It's possible to get through the archer room without using invisibility, but most times you need one. So you want to allocate one for that room. Then up here we have the Alexa skip. Just jump around the corner. You want to have your mana ready. There's a knight. Knight's pretty easy to dodge. Like either jump over him or wait for him to go in the corner, and you can get past pretty fast. Bit of movement optimizing here, like knowing when to strafe and when to jump. Like you need to know where all the traps are on each floor if you're going to be doing that, because you can't just strafe into a blind corner unless you know if there's a trap behind it or not. So if you're moving 3 or more tiles, then you want to turn and then jump. Well, not 3 or more, it's 4 or more. If it's 3 or less, then you want to strafe. Okay, for experience in the tower, the old way was to punch knights. Knights are something like 38 experience per punch, and Rakshasha is 50. So you get much more experience punching Rakshasha. And the time save is mostly in the damage you put into Rakshasha, because you get more steady hits when you're hitting knights. But you get more experience hitting Rakshasha. And the key here is to be aggressive with your punches. But you also need a bit of luck. There's these 2 Rakshasha are not exactly the same. One has increased damage and the other has increased defense. So you kind of want to kill the high attack one first, so that you're doing more damage when you get to the high defense one. But that's not a major thing. I have 2 stacks of health potions now. I don't really need 2 stacks. But whatever. I want health potions against bats because it's good enough. But then later when I get to the bats over pits, you want health potions specifically because if you're invisible, you're more likely to bump into the bat, and that will have you fall into the pit. So the start of this floor, you want to do it pretty fast, like go, go, go. That means you want to have your everything set up at the end of tower if you're going to move things around. And that's because the bats in one of the early rooms, they start a good distance away from where you're going. So if you get there fast, you can beat the bats and not have to deal with them. However, if you game over on this floor, then the enemies will have different spawn positions, and the bats will be all over this room. It's this room with the water here. That skeleton you can bypass, but he can also hit you when you're trying to teleport. So half the time you want to deal with him. Bats are dangerous. So it takes 3 hits to die to a bat, so you gotta plan your health potion usage around that. Like if you can survive 2 hits, then it's no big deal, just health potion and move on. But mostly you're just trying to dodge them, and it takes being very attentive to what's going on in the room to do that. Like bats are really fast. So every bat is the hardest enemy in the game. Here we have the Room of Wandering. Just pressing the 3 switches. I went the wrong way. That skeleton tends to get in the way, so I usually kill him. But you don't have to. Yeah, outside here on the left is a bit of money behind a wall, a breakable wall. Those are more health potions. I have far too many health potions now. Like, I shouldn't have picked up the last 2 stacks from tower or right there. 3 is enough, really. Because I only need them for the next 2 rooms, and then I'm into invisibility potions. That was, yeah, enemies get you, like, as you're transitioning into rooms. You can't always see what's on the other side of a room. And that bat was in the right place for that. If you fall in that pit, you die. So you gotta be extra careful where the bat is, because he likes to hang out over the pit. One potion's enough for that room, if you get a few spaces in before using it. And you're hoping that for these next 3 rooms, your 3 potions are enough. So, that room just passed had gold bars. That chest just passed had gold coins. And so if you need some extra money, you can get the gold coins. Doesn't take an inventory slot. This room you need to rush through, so that the bats don't move around too much. So there's another boulder here, and it is possible to walk through it, and that's slightly faster, but it's not consistent at all, because you only clip through the boulder on alternating frames. To clip through it, you gotta do something like take a step on the switch, take a step backwards, wait for a split second, and then hold forward. But yeah, that's not consistent, so you just warp past it. Back on runes forward is consistent. This is one of my favorite, like, boulder sequences, and I don't know, room sequences. I like it a lot. You just outrun the boulder and try to dodge all the other rocks, then back up behind one. It's a lot of fun. But sometimes it's too laggy and you get caught. That skeleton there is terrible because he lives in the room. And he does high damage. If he gets a side hit, I'm pretty sure you're dead. Kill this sorcerer just for extra arm strength for when you get to the Chimera. It just speeds up the Chimera without using any invisibility potions. That's all that is. So don't go too far out of your way killing him. Now we're into the shop. I need 60 invisibility potions to do the next sequence safely. It's the breakdown. It's like 25 to 28 for the chimeras. Keep 15 for Dark Zone. So what is that? It's like a handful to get to the ninja, and then however many the ninja take, then you have 15. You want to use like 5 on Dark Zone 1, but there's a few spares. And then Dark Zone 2 is... it takes up to 10. So that's the breakdown of the invisibility potions. And that's found just through trying it out and seeing how many I use. The rapier, the infinite use sword I have. I don't know. Like, for arm strength grinding, you want an infinite use weapon, just because there's no reason to worry about durability, and you don't want to kill things fast. But it still adds damage. When you don't have a sword, then you do half of your arm strength in damage. So you always want to have a sword if you intend to do any damage at all. And the chimeras still have to die. If you go the other way, past Alexis, then you get 10,000 gold. So this part here is just playing very carefully. You don't want to fall. That chest is a couple thousand gold. Yeah. That's one of the less dangerous bat sections. They seem slower for some reason. Maybe more spread out. You got 3 mana potions there if you need them. Now for this grind, you need to get a feel for how long invisibility potions last. And you also learn to deal with the level up text box popping up all the time. And where the text box interrupts your item use, you need to make sure that your item is actually being used. So it's either by watching the ticker go down or listening for the sound. 1 potion is enough to get through the bat room. There's also a good chance you get hit if you only use 1. You don't want to chase these enemies too far, because then you're losing time in chasing them. But you also want to kill them all. More arm strength means more damage to the boss. More levels mean higher damage rolls. You don't need to kill them all though, because you don't get that many arm strength levels in the last few Chimera. So no real reason to kill them all. Start the fight using the lucky charm so that you start with high damage. But this is a fight where your damage is going to go up and down. And you can see the effect of that. Where he runs away, and if he's away long enough, your damage goes back down to low again. Whereas if you hit him a bunch of times in a row, you'll get similar damage values. And then you also get higher numbers for hitting him in the side and back. The strategy that's not working too well here is to keep him trapped in this entrance area. Like these 4 tiles, ideally. But then there's a backup plan of just keeping him trapped within a certain area. And then the backup plan, if you run out of invisibility potions, is to stand in the center of the room and have him run at you, and then sidestep it, and then hit him from the side. And that's something he'll consistently do. Unless he runs away and then he's wandering randomly. But if he's running at you, then he'll walk in front of you. I redid the path through Dark Zone compared to when I started. And this way's pretty safe. There's very few pits that you're jumping over here. It's only the ones after getting the flame sword. And the reason you get the flame sword is for money. Like, I already have a flame sword, so it's not that. But yeah, you get the flame sword for money. It's too much money to pass up. Same for this secret here. The secret's 100,000 gold, thereabouts. So with those 2 items, that's all the money you need for the rest of the game. And so that makes the money routing into getting the 60,000 gold for the the first set of invisibility potions, because the second shop, it's already fine and decided by these two items. But if you need more, there are other ways to get money. Now we're into Fortress. So speaking of money, here's where we spend it all. We want about 100 invisibility potions for the rest of the game. Maybe a few more than that. And there are 3 or 4 stacks of 10 throughout the deeper floors. Like Fortress 2 has a stack, Fortress 3, Fortress 5, 6, or 7. It's really hard to know which number, like when you're going up and down the stairs all the time. But at the start of the 5, 6, 7 floor. So there's at least 3 stacks you can get of 10. So that makes the money pretty flexible here. And I'm selling the sword I used on the ninja, so the durability of that sword is pretty variable too. Like, it all depends on how well the fight went and how your damage rolls were. So I need at least 70. 90 is ideal, I guess. And you also need, at either the first shop or this shop, you need a stack of health potions for the arrow trap later. And I don't know if I do it here, but I make 2 stacks of invisibility potions. No, I don't. It's fine. It's like 1 stack of all of them is pretty good as well. But when there's 2 stacks, then you don't have to move things into your bag. You're not combining stacks later when you get low. Anyway, moving on. We're into the experience grind. The first half of Fortress, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, is all built around fighting the lobster boss. By the way, those master keys are carried over from ruins, so you need to keep 2 master keys for this section. So yeah, you need a good number of kills before getting into the lobster boss fight, because the best way to do damage to the lobster boss is by having levels. You want high level. Levels give you a luck stat, and luck increases your damage rolls. So at the peak of your luck, you're hitting harder. And that's just a good way to get around armor, which lobsters have a lot of. All the other bosses you want high arm strength, but lobsters you want high luck. These Reapers, and also the Eraser Eyes, are really good experience. Like, I have an experience spreadsheet that I was going to link in the video description. And for this point in the game, the Reapers and the Eraser Eyes are the best. But then the other monsters are like 3 experience behind max. Right in front of me is the invisibility potions. That's a Ring of Life, and now we have the key coming up. But that was the first set of invisibility. So back to stats. Levels. You gain level experience on a monster kill. So it's the monster experience minus your current level is your level experience gained. Arm strength experience is the monster experience minus your arm strength level. Your intellect is, what is it? It's like monster defense minus your intellect level. Something along those lines. I don't use intellect that much. And then magic resistance is the reverse of that. It's their intellect minus your armor, your magic resistance. And those are the 4 stats. The task uses these spiders here to gain arm strength going into the boss. And that's because of the experience system, where you gain levels slowly. Like it banks up all your experience into a big pool and gives it out. It's like 1 per frame, something like that. And so it takes 100 frames, if that's the case, to gain a level. But you can gain experience faster than 1 per frame. You're attacking at 1 attack every 8 frames, and the task gains about 50 experience in that time. So whatever that comes out to. And so you do that, then you're gaining additional experience than if you were fighting appropriate level enemies. Like as the experience is going into your character, you're being treated as being a lower level, so you gain extra experience that way. And that's also why the task comes out of the ninja fight with maximum intellect. And speaking of that, they use the levels gained from those 2 strategies to skip the teleport tile in this room, because they'd still be gaining levels at this point. But realistically, you can't make use of that. Fortress 4 has another skip. I believe the task did it, and I took it from there. But you can spend a ring of life to skip most of the floor. And all you need to do to stand on the pit as you're dying is to just hold jump. So it's easiest if you jump into the pit. Like press jump and then just hold it. And that way you'll always appear standing up over the pit. Here's the lobster boss. You want to use the luck pouch because that sets your luck to max. And that's how you get. And with my route, that's why you get the 30s here. I put a lot into getting my damage here really high. The higher damage, the less you have to do this fight, like the faster it ends. So you don't have to worry about the randomness of the lobsters as long. So here we have the 3rd set of invisibility potions. Then the 4th set is at the top of the fortress, next to the arrow trap. The 2nd set I didn't mention, because I was talking about other things, was by the medusas. Not the medusas. The spider ladies. Like the room next to the 4 spider ladies. Anyway, here we have the connected floor maze. It takes 10 to 12 invisibility potions if you're playing safe to get through all of this. And that's really only for lobsters. All the other enemies you can dodge pretty easily. Just jump past them. Right here we have Hardening Potion. It's a big stack of that. If your weapon is too low. You need about 30 weapon durability going forward. So if it's lower than that, you can get some Hardening Potion there. Did the Mimic skip? Warp on top of the Mimic and jump past. Because you really can't fight Mimics. There's just no way. Jumping over that flower, you can get blocked by this armor guy. If he stands behind the flower, you just gotta wait for him to leave. This section here takes 2 invisibility potions, unless the lobster stands in front of the door. Like it's just shy of being enough for 1, but the mimic gets you if you only use 1. The task goes a different route to jump in that hole, but it depends on where the enemies are a lot. But I only go the one way, because it's pretty safe. You have enough levels and health that the acid tiles aren't a big deal. Most of the time you can get by them fine. Only use 2 invisibility potions for that lobster, or else it'll run out on you, or he'll get you. There's a fake wall that I missed right there. It's right after the door. Like it goes lobster, door, fake wall on the left. And that's not something I found until after making this run. When I played the PSP version of the game, where you can see beside your character. And we're warping around to get the fastest way back to this area. We used to warp to backtrack, because that was a known way back, but it's faster if you take a different set of stairs. Like it's shorter cursor movement, and that warp there is you warp on top of stairs that take you to the entrance of this room, and that saves a warp. Here you get the star shield, and that's another check, another health check. You want to have 74 health and these 2 armor pieces going into the arrow trap at fortress top of fortress. And that's because with these 2 armor pieces you take 72 max damage. So you want to have health to spare after that. It's doable at 70 health, but you want to bring a ring of life along if you're going to do that. And at 72 health, you're pretty likely to make it, but you're also, there's a good chance you'll die. You can also use the luck charm to prevent that. To help reduce the damage. Here's the fireball jump. I still call it that because we used to jump over the fireball. And that was a blind jump. Like you see it coming, press jump, and hope you make it. So the ways we came up to get around the fireball jump, there was, you can slow the game speed. If you slow it all the way, then you get like 16 frames to jump it. Something like that, 10. And there's even a visual cue for that. So that's my backup strat. You can have enough health to survive it, but that's very inconsistent and depends on your luck, because you have no magic resistance at this point. Or you can warp past it like we did. To warp past it, you take a step forward to activate the shot, then you take a step backward and use warp to buffer. And if the fireball is on screen, then you warp. If it's not, then you cancel and then rebuffer. In this side room here is the invisibility potions. I already talked about the arrow trap. The headless in this floor, you might want to kill extra to get more levels. Like if you're short on levels, then killing headless will make it safer. It's player's choice if you want to help or kill Alexis. Leave it at that. Now we're at what I call the Hydra boss. He has a name. Invisibility makes you immune to his attacks, so you want to use 10 invisibility, because that's how much invisibility stacks to. And then you want to kill him before double fades. Like if double fades, then it means you're about to run out. Like there, I had barely a second left. And for that fight, attack or arm strength is better than levels. Levels don't help a whole lot. It's really only the lobsters where having high levels helps your damage. Always use an invisibility potion before going into a teleporter, because you can get punched as soon as you appear. There's no great strategy for killing these headless. Mostly you want to avoid being punched. That's kind of it. Okay, now we're into the final stretch, which is the last boss. So last boss, you go into the room with invisibility up to block against blue fireballs and lasers, but you shouldn't step on a laser anyway. And double. Task notes say that double increases your damage by like 75%, something like that. On this fight in particular. So first you hope you get into the room without getting hit by a red fireball. Then you're hoping that there's no bouncing fireballs going on. There's no teleport circle in front of the boss. And that's when you have a good fight. You want to have game speed on medium, because that way you get 2 hits every fireball. And that makes it about just as fastest speed. But fastest speed is much harder. And it's also more likely to have visual bugs. You can step over the teleport circles by basically moving when they would pass under you. That's pretty much how it works. It's like if you stop moving and you're on a teleport circle, then you're going to get teleported. So that's the kill. I covered most of what I wanted to talk about. So it's just the things as they come, as they appear. Just wanted to get my thoughts out there on each of the rooms as I go through them. I guess Runes 9 was changed. Like, that's a maze. You can go left to right. It doesn't make a big difference which way you go. But I think going left looks nicer, so that's all that is. Let's see what's in the spreadsheet. So the spreadsheet, it does have all the experience values, the health values, but beyond that would take more work into looking at the memory of the monsters. Gold counting, that is a thing, specifically with weapons, and I guess the ice ring. Like, you can get a feel for how much gold you have if you count your money as you go. And then, if you use a bunch of durability on something, you can feel that you're behind on money and need to pick something else up. But you'd see that most with the fire sword. But that's not a big deal anymore because of all the free invisibility potions you get. The memory exploit. It has a lot of uses. I guess half of them you can use in the Japanese version as it is, because they can skip triggers pretty much everywhere. But with it, you'd be able to do things like get the Ghost Girl's bracelet before fighting the crab boss. You could probably skip floor cutscenes. You don't need to kill all the archers on Tower 4. Like, there's a room of 4 archers, and it'll have your counter set to max already. So you just kill one and the door opens. All the one-time text with sprites, NPCs, would be skipped. Apparently it breaks rocks. Oh, the lobster boss, you only need to kill one lobster, and then the door opens. And all the Alexis cutscenes you could skip. So that's the potential of the exploit. But I haven't found a way to really get into it yet. Your damage is just your arm strength plus your weapon damage. It's pretty simple. Except if you have no weapon, then it's half. And I guess a little disclaimer with the spreadsheet. The route's there, but it's not up to date. That's over in the to-do section. But yeah, watch this video. It's a good video. By that I mean the record run. It's a good run. Deathless is very hard to get. Gotten it about 4 times. 4 or 5 times. So ideally, you get really good at the game, and then get your lucky deathless run. That makes a great time. There's a couple points of luck in the run. Most of it is how monsters wander around the floors. Like, if they're in front of doors and just stand there, then you're losing time. So you want to get lucky on that. There's the wizard fight. You need get lucky on that. The Rakshasha is the Rakshasha on the ice floor, the top of fortress. The final boss. I call it the big 5 of luck things. The lobster boss. But so yeah, if this time is to get better, I'm thinking there's like 20 seconds to be saved here, and then the rest is all luck. Just get good encounters. So I think I've said all I wanted to say. So I'll stop the video here. Like, comment, and subscribe, as the YouTubers say.